Hello, hello, hello. Today we're going to look at the mic kit and how to use it. So in case you are a beginner, I do recommend downloading Blender to actually use it. So simply go under blender.org and go to download Blender. In my case, I currently have the latest version of 2.93. Maybe if you're watching this in the future, you will have a later version. We should update it and it will all work, but don't try to use an older version or it won't work. So just go under versions and download the normal Windows installer. In case you have Mac, do that, or Linux, you will know what to do. And yeah, just download the 2.93. Okay, now it seems like you installed Blender or you already had it. So to open up the file, it's pretty simple. Go under File on the top left and go on Open. And here, just click on the current Blender file you downloaded. I don't know the name. I'll probably call it mic or something like that. But in my case, I called it finalvideo.blend. So we'll just open it up. It will take some time. In my case, it takes around 30 seconds. It's just, don't be scared. It hasn't stopped working. It just takes some time. So just wait, go drink some coffee, maybe tea, and just hold on. It will load in some time. So for me, it took around 20 seconds and it loaded. So I've divided this video into many parts. So just simply check out the timestamps. But for beginner Blender users, I'll just go through some navigation so they understand what's going on. So in the middle, we just have the viewport where you'll be able to see the 3D character. And on the right, we have some pre-made stuff we did, and on the left we have the colors. So for now we'll just focus on the middle, which is the 3D parts. You see a plus sign, just left click on it and drag forward or backwards to zoom in. The hand will let you pan around, but these are great, but I do recommend just using shortcuts. So mouse wheel for zooming, so forward, backwards, the usual. And if you press Alt on your keyboard and left click and drag, you will be able to rotate. So I can rotate around pressing Alt and left click and just dragging and rotating around. And then you can press Alt and Shift to simply do the same thing as here, but with a shortcut. So I can just drag around. And then I just, for example, if I want to shoot a shoe, I'll click left, I'll click Alt and Shift, I'll drag around to the shoe size, and then I'll just zoom in with my mouse, and then I'll just press Alt and left click to drag around and see the shoe. Now, if we want to go back to the camera view, we'll press 0 on our numpad. I'll hopefully blend it in where it is, but if you have a keyboard on the right side, you have a numpad with like numbers, just press the 0 on it and you'll break the camera view or go into the camera view. Okay, now at this part, we will be changing the colors of the character, and then in the second part, we'll change the colors of the accessories. So as usual, if you want to skip this part, just check the timestamps. YouTube is your place. Just click, click, click. Okay, we'll start off by changing the colors. On your left side, if you're under show, you will see these shoe, socks, pants, hoodie, and hair. So in our case, we want to change our style to purple. We press the main color and you can see it's currently red. You can drag around the color picker to see the colors. You can see them updating now. I'll just move and you can see them updating. You can either write the codes. I don't have any hex codes copied, but you can copy in a hex code if you wish, or you can use the color picker to maybe match the pants color if you wish. We will probably go with a more, let's go with purple. I like purple. This is a strong purple, Lakers purple. I'll just copy that, the hex color, in case I need to use it later. Oh, I forgot. So you copy it in and you press enter. Oh no, actually we have socks. I forgot. It's currently black. As you see, you move them and nothing happens. You need to move this slider so you can reveal more colors. And if you want black, you just slide it back down and then you have black. We'll go back up because we want yellow socks. Now we're gonna change the pants. You can see under pants, pants color. We'll just move around whichever we like the most. Oh, actually, let's go with purple. Strong purple. No, we'll go back to white. Okay, as you can see, it's just a playing around thing, pretty simple stuff. Now we have our hoodie. It's red. We'll just match it with shoes. I'll copy in the hex code that I copied from my shoes. But if you wish, you can click on the color picker and then just click on your shoes and it should match about the same thing. Now we have a clean setup of a purple look. The last thing is changing the hair. On the left, you'll see the hair shader. If we move it around, nothing sadly happens. But once we click render, it's gonna choose the color we have here. Sadly, we can't update it. Blender does not work like that, but whichever color we choose, it's gonna render that color. So we're gonna copy in the purple of the hex. And once we go to the render part of the video, if you want, you can skip to that and do a preview render of the hair, and you will see it being purple. So for now it's black, but once we render, it's gonna be purple. All right, now that we created our own little custom purple layout, we're gonna change the accessory colors. It's pretty simple. We're currently under show, so on the top left, go under accessories, and once we click that, we have a new left side with a new bunch of colors. So it's the same thing as with the character. Simply select the color, drag around. You can see it's updating here. It's currently gray. We'll say we like full purple. Let's go just full purple. The pen, we'll just go with black. So if you want black, just drag it down and you can see it's fully black. Okay, now we're changing the notebook color too. Let's say we want some pink. Why not? Now let's change our iPhone's color. It's currently blue. We're gonna stay with our purple theme. You can color pick if you want, or you can drop in the hex or just do it manually. I'll drop in the hex code so it's great purple. All right, now the last thing is the chair. You can see currently it's like a bluish, but we want those strong red colored chairs that really just bite your eye. So to go back to the camera view, as usual, just press 0 on your numpad and you're gonna be back in your camera view. Remove the lag in case you have that in your scene currently. You'll simply need to go on the top right corner. You'll see a small little simplify. Click on that and you'll notice that we suddenly lose hair. We get older and we lose the hair. Don't worry, that's it's just not visible at the moment, but once we render it will be visible. We just simply hide them, so once we do stuff, it's not gonna lag that much anymore. One thing to keep in mind, I do mention this again in the rendering part of the video, but once you render and you have selected your colors and everything, please disable it. So by disabling it, it looks like this, so it's not ticked in, so that means it's disabled, so our hair are visible. So just make sure before you render that you have it disabled. All right, now we're changing poses part of the video. This is the hardest part of the tutorial in my opinion, so I have divided this into two. The first one being where we reuse the poses I've created, and the second one where we create our own custom poses and then we save them. And yeah, if you want to go to that part, just check out the timestamps, but if not, currently we're going to change between poses. So now we're on our default view, you can see here, and on the right you can mouse wheel and see all the poses. In case it's a bit messed up, remember you can scroll here, the first one where you have your mouse here. If you scroll in this part, you can reveal more poses here in the top. So in case you have this part missing, just scroll a bit up and you will be able to see this part. And if you want to go a bit down to select the lower ones, you just have to scroll. So now we can see all of our poses. We have scrolled all the way up and we can see everything. So there are two ways to change between poses. I'll show each of them first and then we'll switch between poses. The first one being where we go on the top right corner and click on show overlays. Now we will be able to see our rig layer. To select it, simply go over it, hover it, and then just right click and you will see an orange overlay. That means it's selected. If we right click on nothing, you can see it's black. That means it's not selected. If we click on it again, now it's orange and it's selected. The second way to select the rig is not to go on the show overlays part and selecting it. You can simply go on the top right where it says back to school, simply left click on it, and then you'll see a little glowing thing. That means it's selected. Okay, now that it's selected, just go on the right, choose which pose you would like to see. So for example, we want to see, scroll down, remember to scroll down a bit more, just go here and scroll a bit more. Let's say we like the standing pose, standing on phone. I currently have it selected. You see it's glowing. Then we scroll back up, and to enable the pose, simply click on this little icon. It's gonna take a few seconds, and bam, we have our pose, new custom pose with a phone visible. And now that we have our little custom pose, as usual, we can change colors and do whatever we want. Let's say we have the phone color, and now we go to the accessories and we change the phone color to the shoe color. As you can see, you can change everything as you want. So let's change to one more pose. Let's say we want a bit complex pose, like chair with a pen in hand with a book on the table. We click on the apply pose again, and shablam. Oh, a few seconds, yes. And you can see the colors are all still saved. Everything is the same. And you can see our character with a pen in hand and chilling. And you can change colors as usual and do whatever, and accessories. So that's awesome. To enable and disable the mask, simply go in the pose mode. Make sure you have your character selected. As you can see, it's selected. I can switch between poses. Let me enable simplify so it does not lag. Let's click on chair board. We have it all looking great. To enable the mask, simply scroll up on this part, not on this part, but here you have your mouse here and scroll up, and you'll see a mask on and mask off. Simply click on mask on and then apply pose, and you'll suddenly see the mask magically appearing. And in case you want to remove it again, simply click on mask off, and then you'll see the mask being off. I can do that again with a different pose. So let's say standing confident. Our guy is looking great, and we click on mask on, and shablam, we have our mask enabled and it looks great. This will be the render part section of the video. There are two things that we need to make sure we do before we proceed by rendering the image. The first one being enabling our GPU. We do that by going in the top left corner under edit and then preferences, and we just make sure that CUDA is enabled. It might look like this for you. Just click on CUDA, tick in the card you have, and just click on the hamburger and click on save preferences, and this will just make sure your GPU is enabled. The second thing you need to make sure is that simplify is ticked. So basically simplify is disabled, so you should be able to see the hair. If you can't see the hair, that means that simplify is enabled. You would see like small stringy thingies. Just make sure you disable it, and you should see the full. Just make sure that those two things are done, enabling GPU and disabling simplify. Now let's say our pose is finished. We like everything. We like our little custom colors. Let's say ours is blue, and we changed our let's say we changed our hair also to the same color. All right, as you see, it's currently not updated, but once we render, it will be updated. So to render, simply go on the top left under render and then click on render image. This will take some time. For me, it takes around a minute. For you, it could take up to 2 minutes. Maybe if you have the newest of the GPUs, it can take like 30 seconds, but keep in mind it should take around a minute. So I'll get back to you once it finishes up. So once the time on the top left corner stops moving, that means the image is rendered. In our case, we can now see the different color of the hair. I changed it to red. You can see, yeah, it's red. Our character looks fine. To save the image, simply go under image and then save as, and then save it whatever you like. I'll call it red hair standing confidently, and we'll just save the image, and that's about it. If you wish to have a high quality image, let's say 4K, simply go on the top under this one. I think it's output properties. You can see the dimensions under resolutions. Simply times 2 the resolution, so 2160 is 4320, and then we'll write that again in the bottom. And now we will have, it looks the same, but now it's twice as high quality. Now we changed it to 4K, but keep in mind it's now twice as much of pixels, so that means the rendering will take twice as long. So if previously it took 1 minute for me, now it will take 2 minutes. So keep that in mind. At this part of the video, I'll be showing how you can change the light setups. To see the light setups, just go to the side-by-side view in the downloads folder under preview lights. And yeah, we'll see a preview lights folder and just see the light setups there and choose which one you like the most. But to switch the lights for your scene, it's simple as 2 clicks. So currently we have our light set tree enabled. You can see that by having the eye and the render icon glowing. Simply click on those 2 icons. Now they're not selected. Now we have no light setups. Go under light setup 2, click on the eye and click on the camera icon. Now we have our light setup 2 enabled and we will have those lights, and you can, as usual, click on render and render the image with your custom colors and stuff, all that as usual. Just make sure you don't have 2 enabled at the same time. It's just gonna mess up the lights. You will have double lights and it's gonna look weird. Just have one of those light setups enabled at a time. At this part, I'll simply show how you can move the camera in case you want a different angle. So we have currently have our back to school character selected. Let's click on main camera, and if we press N under Z axis, you can see you won't be able to move anything. Oh, you actually are, but if under Z axis we can rotate around the character. Now you can see it looks pretty good. Or you can just press RZ and you can rotate around the character and have your own little custom angle, and then you can, as usual, press render, or if you want to reset it, just under Z press 0, and then you have our current default view. Or all right, now comes the hardest part of the video, which will be creating our own little custom pose and saving it in our big library and creating our own even bigger library. Thing we'll do is scroll at the top. Make sure you also scroll in this part at the top and click on the T-pose, and actually make sure you have your back to school character selected so you can see the highlighted thingy. So we'll go on the T-pose and we'll just click on apply pose library, and now it's gonna go in the T-pose and we can experiment. So the first thing we'll do is enable the overlay. And now we'll go and edit the individual rig layers. To do that, you can either go on the top left and go to the pose mode. Just make sure it's orange. Just go on the pose mode. And now we can move the individual layers by right clicking. But you can also go there by right click and having the overlay be orange, not black, but orange. And then just pressing tab and then going to the pose mode. It's a small little shortcut, but 1 second saved. In a year it's like 20 minutes, so that's great. We can right click and you'll see a blue overlay. That means that part of the rig is selected. So if we press G and then move our mouse, you will notice it's very laggy. It's like 1 frame per second. That's not good. We need to lower those frames. To lower the frames, we need to go under render properties. So we click on that and now we can see the simplify. So press on simplify and now you can see the hair. We lost hair, we got old and lost our hair. Looks bad, but now at least we can press G and move our character around. Now we just go back to our pose so we can see that, but please keep in mind when you render you need to disable it. Maybe it should work even if you don't, but just try to disable it anyways. To create our own little custom pose without lag, you can see I'm pressing G and moving my mouse. To be more specific, you can press N and you can move the location in the Y-X axis and you can rotate it around and you can scale it, and probably don't scale it, as you can see it breaks a bit. So probably just try to move the location and rotation. And here at the bottom you can also see the rig layers. These are the smaller, more detailed things. I'll hopefully mention these parts once we do the fingers, but for now you can ignore those. So for navigation you can move it here, or I do recommend learning the shortcuts. So I'll press N and hide it. The shortcuts being G to move it around, GX for the x-axis, G and Z for the z-axis, and G and Y for the y-axis. Okay, so let's start off by creating our own little pose now. So this is all the info we need. The navigations, you can check out the start of the video for navigations if you need that. But I'll be just using Alt to rotate, Shift to pan, and using my Nth button, I'll hopefully blend it in. This locks around the selected part. So just Nth on the German keyboard is right next to the 0 on the numlock. It's a small Nth. I don't know how to say it. Nth helps you rotate around with Alt exactly around that part. All right, let's start off by creating our own little pose. Let's say we want our character to say cheese with an open mouth and his fingers. Press G and Y to move it on the y-axis, G and X, and G and Z to move it up. And now we can move the knee. I'll just press G and rotate it. I'll press R to have the rotation. Rotate it on the x-axis. This looks pretty good. Maybe a bit open like that. What else do we want to move? We want his hand on the side, so select this small square, put his hand on the side, maybe rotate it a bit with R, G to move it, G, R, looks good. R and RX to make it look like that. All right, now we'll have the second arm a bit up, like this, and then I'll press R and X. It's a lot of guessing game, as you can see, until I guess the axis. It's quite normal, so I'm pressing R and Z this time, and we pull the hand up. To see it back in the camera, just press 0 on the numlock. Maybe disable the thingy to see how it looks. Looks pretty weird. I like it. I'll put it like that. Maybe rotate Z. Keep guessing the locations. Let us move the the elbow like this. This looks good. And now comes the extra layer part. If we want to close our fist, you can see it. We don't have that much function. We can't close our fist. It just goes right into the finger. So we don't want that. To have more details, we'll click on finger detail. And now we have a lot more detail. We'll just press R to rotate on the middle one and then on this one. So we have a small, we broke his finger. And you can press Alt and G to reset, Alt GR to reset whatever you just made. So Alt G to reset, or Alt GR to reset the rotation. Let's try to make some little, probably broke his arm. Actually, let's just move this now so he shows a peace sign. It looks good. Let's go in the camera view. Disable this to see how it looks. Really bad. I like it. I'll press N on the camera lock to lock on the finger. Looks really bad. I like it. Okay, what else can we do? Let us tweak his mouth. Go on the facial and then mouth, and now you'll see some layers pop up. Let's press N to lock around, so we can press Alt and rotate exactly around the mouth. Let's click on this lower part to open it up, and we can see let's move this side. You can also use the arrows if you want. I'll just use them in this case. Let's move the eyebrows a bit. Yay. Oh, not look. Eyes. He's currently looking at the camera, I think. Yep. Let him look a bit to the side, and let's turn his head to the side as well. And let's rotate his head as well a bit. He's like, whoa, peace, dude, what are you doing? And let's move his chest with R, rotate it a bit. As you can see, I'm not the best posing artist. You should check out YouTube tutorials that show how to do animations and poses. I'm just quickly showing whatever I know, so maybe it helps. Okay, let's press 0. and let's say we say, wow, this is an awesome pose, we really like it. I don't know if anyone would say this, but in case you do, this would be the case. So this part, this is a very, very important part. Please do listen, because if you mess this up, it's gonna break everything. So to save the pose, make sure you have not selected anything. As you can see, nothing is glowing, and if I press G, nothing moves. But if I have something selected and I press G and move my mouse, something's gonna move along. So press on nothing, and even if this is blue, does not mean it's selected, because if I press G, you can hear maybe I'm pressing G and trying to rotate my mouse, it does not do anything. So make sure nothing is selected, and then go under the plus. It's gonna say pose lib, add pose. Click on add new. And now you can see, maybe you can't scroll to the bottom, just make sure you scroll here. And now you can see under pose, we have our little custom pose, and we'll call it peace. Not sure you type peace, bro. And now we have our own little custom pose. So we're just gonna go, when you switch the poses now that you know what pose mode is, when switching poses, make sure you also have nothing selected, nothing like edit mode. So if I go here under pose mode, make sure you press G and nothing is selected now that we switch poses, because if not, it's gonna mess it up. So really make sure you have nothing selected in pose mode now. And now let's say we go under high jump. We have our high jump, it's working fine. Now we scroll down to peace, bro. And now you can see our own little custom pose working very well. Let's do a small bug test. Let's say we select the chest, and now we go in the object mode and we create a standing pose side. You can see nothing happens. Let's see, let me go chair angry. As you can see, it started glitching and looks weird, and we keep on clicking and it's breaking. So this is because you have your pose selected. Just really make sure you go under show overlays, under poses, and really make sure you have it deselected. So now I have G, nothing is selected. And now if I go into object mode and change poses, everything works fine. So really make sure you have nothing selected in your pose mode. So that was that hardest part of the tutorial. If you want to learn more about animations and posing, I'd recommend better tutorials, but this was the introduction, how to use the action library as well. So that's great news. To create a custom pose with assets, do the same thing as with no assets. So just check out the timestamp for that part. But this case, you simply go under character and you select T-pose all, and you will notice magically all of the assets appearing. I'll make sure I enable simplify so it does not lag that much. And you can see all the assets having their own rig layers. So if you want the character to sit down in a chair, just move that here and move all those other assets out of the view of the camera, so you can render it and they're not gonna bother you. So you can see me click on them, moving everything, and I'll just say he wants to use the phone, so I'll move it here on the table, something like that. And as usual, to save the pose, make sure nothing is selected. If I go into pose mode and press G, nothing happens, so nothing is happening. I'll simply go back into the pose mode, nothing is moving. I'll click on plus, add a new from current frame, and you will notice we have to scroll down. We have our current pose, so we'll call it pose sitting with phone. We will save it. As usual, make sure nothing is selected. We'll go back to the object mode, and let's say we want chair angry. Looks great. And then we want to go to our own little custom pose, sitting with phone, and shablam. Those parts at the side won't be visible, so they won't bother you. Of course, the pose does not look good now. You need to modify it. Check out the timestamp how to do that. But to create the pose with assets, this is how you do that. Use the pre-made animations we made. We also have attached those in this file. So we have our one little animation loop currently that we give away with this kit. If you want to use the pre-made animation we have in our advertisements, which is the boards on the desk, to use it, go select the back to school character and go on the top left under mods. And now here you'll see with N you can hide it. And now here you'll see a new button. Click on this small thingy here and click on board on desk. And now in the timeline you will have our little loop animation. As you can see, it's probably lagging. Just click on simplify under these render properties, and now you'll be able to see it better. You can see it's our little loop animation. You can, as usual, change colors, and then you can render the animation by having the timeline end at, let's say, 43. I think the animation ends 1 2 3 it ends at 116, so press the end at 116. And at this case, don't press render image, click on render animation. This will take some time, maybe a few hours actually, because it's 116 frames, and if one image takes 1 minute, it's around 116 minutes. So you will need to leave your computer rendering for a while if you want to use this one. And also make sure you have simplify disabled once you do that. But in this case, you can also reuse our little loop animation, which is pretty cool stuff. Alright, this is the end of the tutorial. If you have any more questions, just check the description. I've added my email and my Discord, where you can add me and ask any questions you have about the kit. I've also included the place where you can purchase the kit. I do recommend using the UI8 or the CG Trader or the Blender Market, whichever market you prefer, and just purchase it there to use it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye bye.